let's talk about shoes. I get this question a ton about what shoes I wear, so I figured I would take you through my current shoe rotation as well as some of the honorable mentions of my favorite shoes. So I want to start off by saying I am not a professional shoe reviewer. I don't know all the details about shoes. I am just gonna take you through my experience with what I've run in, what I like, and what I am currently using on a day-to-day basis. So let's get into it. We'll kick it off with the daily trainers. So I'm currently running 90 to 100K weeks, which requires a lot of kilometers. So it's good to have a daily trainer shoe, something that you feel comfortable doing, easy, slower runs in, something you might actually also use for a little bit of a workout. My all-time favorite shoe, you guys have probably heard me talk about this shoe 1,000 times if you follow me on Instagram, Strava, this channel. But my all-time favorite, honestly, daily trainer and shoe that I use for everything is the New Balance Super Comp V2. These shoes have done me so well. I'm very sad, although the new version, which we'll talk about later, is good. I'm very sad to see the V3 and the V2 go away because this shoe is so good. I've put close to, I think, 900 kilometers on these shoes, and I could still wear them. They're definitely worn down, as you can see, but what I love about this shoe is it is cushioned, so for long runs, easy runs, it does me well. It has a plate in it. I don't think it's a full carbon plate, but it does have a plate in it, and for speed, tempo work, you could also use this and get really good bang for your buck. I would do my long runs in this shoe because it gives you good cushion, but also still gives you a little bit of pop if you want to get up and go. I cannot say enough about this shoe. The other daily trainer that I use a lot is the Asics Super Blast. This is a shoe that I actually got gifted to me by a friend who bought too big of a pair. Good friend sent it my way, and I've absolutely loved them. I've also put a decent amount of kilometers, and probably around 500 kilometers on these shoes since I got them. It does have a good amount of cushion and pop that allows for you to go fast if you need to. Like, I know people I've seen online, people race in this shoe. I probably wouldn't race in it, but it definitely can be used for like tempo work, faster workouts. I typically like to use it for like just my easy mileage, so my easy runs or my long, slower runs. The colorway is also pretty dope. They just came out with a new version of this shoe, the Super Blast 2, that I have not yet tried. But, you know, as I stare at all of these shoes that I do have, I probably should be mindful of how many shoes that I'm getting, right? The other daily trainer that I've been wearing a ton is the upgraded version of the V2. This is the Super Comp Trainer V3 by New Balance. Also a very, very good shoe. I really do enjoy it. I think the V2 is my first love, so it's hard for me to go away from it. The biggest difference that I've noticed between the V2 and the V3, and there's something that I love about V2, the tongue and the laces on this shoe are so good. There's something about this lace that I really love. They didn't keep the laces on the V3, but the tongue is still really good. The other thing I noticed is that I find this shoe is just slightly wider than the version 2. So I have a narrow foot, so I kind of like the more narrow shoe. But outside of that, this shoe is very good. Gives me the same kind of feel as the V2. It also has a plate and foam in it, so it's cushiony for longer runs, so you can keep it on your feet for a long time. It has the plate to give you some good feedback. If you're trying to do like an interval workout or some tempo work, you could even probably wear this on the track. I'm sure people race in this shoe as well. I really, really enjoy the New Balance Super Comp Trainer V2, V3, as you guys know. So I would say that those are currently what I rotate through for daily trainers. I will say an honorable mention for Probably one of my favorite shoes of all time is the Saucony Endorphin Speed 3. They just came out recently within the year, the Saucony Endorphin Speed 4, which I did try and I did not like it at all, actually. It was not comfortable on my foot. I felt like they changed it a bit. Don't know exactly what the difference was there, but the Speed 3, this shoe, a great shoe. I would use it for, kind of similar to this, I would use it for some daily training stuff, but this is definitely a lot faster shoe, so I would use it anyway for like some tempo work, some interval work, some speed work. You could race in this shoe because it does have a nylon plate in it, not a carbon plate, but I absolutely love the Speed 3. We'll transition a little bit into like racing shoes or like shoes that I would use on like a tempo hard workout day. The very first racing shoe that I ever wore was the Saucony Endorphin Pro 3. Again, this shoe is awesome. I love this shoe. I put so many kilometers on this shoe. You can see here that it's all ripped up. I've put a ton on this. I raced my 3:29 marathon in this shoe, and I raced my 3:16 marathon in this shoe. I've done some half marathons in the shoe. I've done a ton of hard training sessions. I honestly probably will still use this thing even though it's pretty worn out, just because I love it so much. I haven't tried the Endorphin Pro 4s yet. I probably won't, just because I didn't like the Speed 3 lower version of this shoe. But if anyone can get their hands on a Pro 3, I think it is a phenomenal shoe. Yeah, I'm sad to see it worn out and gone. My most recent race that I did, I used the New Balance Super Comp Elite V4. So this is their 4th version of the shoe. Because I loved the trainer so much, I figured that I would try their race shoe. I also like fell in love with this colorway. Like, it's beautiful. I'm a sucker for white and lime, and the blue on this, the orange. They did a really good job visually with this shoe. The one thing that I do not like about it is the tongue and the laces. They kind of cheaped out on the laces, to be honest, and the tongue slides down a ton no matter how tight I tie this thing. It slides down a ton, and I would say it feels kind of similar to the trainer in terms of like its fit on my foot. It's not super aggressive like some other race shoes like Alpha Flies or even the Saucony Pro 3s. So I think for someone who's looking for a racing shoe that is not like as aggressive and a little more comfortable on your foot, this shoe is actually really good. I'll continue to use this shoe in a lot of my training runs, hard training runs like interval work or any workouts that I'm doing, because it is still like a good shoe. I haven't put that many kilometers on it. I did use this in the Mississauga Marathon where I ran a 3:10, so it did help me a little bit. It's got good pop, it's got the carbon plate, it's got a nice rock, it's got a lot of good foam in it. So definitely a good shoe. But I recently, if you guys have been following me on Instagram, posted a little video of these guys, which is the Asics Meta Sky Paris. These are a racing shoe that they have, so it kind of falls into the Asics family with the Super Blast as more of like a daily trainer shoe, and this would be more of your race shoe. Carbon plated. It is crazy how light this shoe is in comparison to like the Elites. I don't know what the actual specs on it, but just like holding this shoe compared to this shoe, both racing shoes, this thing is so light. It's narrow, but for me, that's good. I love the laces, and the tongue on this fits really well, so I didn't have the problem of it like sliding down my foot. I've only worn this shoe as the recording of this video one time. I did like a 23K, like pretty hard workout in it with faster than marathon pace effort, some 1K repeats, and I loved it. It was light, it was poppy. It definitely is a more aggressive shoe on your foot than the Elite, and what I mean by that is, like, for me anyway, it's a lot more narrow, and base of your foot is like there's not a lot of room for movement. If you just were to walk in these shoes, it feels so weird because it feels like you're gonna fall off the shoe. Whereas like when you're running in them, especially like if you're gonna run more of like midfoot to forefoot, which a lot of times when you're running faster, that does happen, it just propels you forward. And it feels like really, really good. So I'm super excited about this shoe. I'm gonna wear it for my sub 3 hour attempt here coming up in like 4 weeks from now. I'll probably do one more big run, probably my marathon simulation run. I will wear this shoe and definitely going to be racing in it versus the New Balance Elite. Also the colorway, this lime with the orange mix is just so nice. So I'm excited about this shoe. I talked to my coach. He's been on me to buy the Alpha Flies. He thinks it's like the best race shoe specifically for a marathon. You know, people run marathons in the shoe. Some of the most Olympians are running in this ASICS shoe. They run the marathon. I know I'm not an Olympian, but he thinks this is probably a better half marathon shoe for me than a full marathon shoe. But sometimes you don't always have to listen to your coach. So I'm gonna go with this one. But I just want to take you guys through that. That is like my basic rotation of shoes right now with some honorable mentions. But if I had to say my favorite shoe of all time, if I could only pick one shoe to wear for all my runs in racing, one shoe is gonna be New Balance Super Comp V2. Honestly, favorite shoe. Second would be Saucony Endorphin Speed 3. I think like if you have this shoe, you can do anything you want in it. It'll treat you well. But as someone who works with runners, who's a physical therapist, helps people rehab from injuries, it is actually really good to have a shoe rotation with different styles of shoes so that you can expose your tissues to the load of running in different ways. So rotating through shoes that feel comfortable on your feet, that are a little bit different, are gonna be good to helping reduce the risk of injury. And it also is a good excuse to convince your significant other that you just need to buy more shoes. So if you guys have any questions around the shoes that I use, shoes in general, again, I'm not a professional and a guru by any means. There's a ton of people online that you can find that like dive deeper into all the specs on these shoes. You can go down rabbit holes, and if you want to do that, I highly suggest it. But this is just my experience with shoes, what I've worn, what I've used. So yeah, let me know what you think. If you guys aren't subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe. We got some good videos coming out. I'm heading into peak week and then getting close to the race, so we'll try to document some of that process. So make sure you subscribe, make sure you follow me on Instagram, make sure you check out my Strava, and I hope you guys are getting after it. I hope you guys are wearing some nice shoes, and I hope you're having fun, training hard, digging deep. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.